Hello everyone, this is Alex Tremble from the Alex Tremble Show, and as I'm out here walking, got me thinking about one of the most embarrassing moments in my professional career. And because I'm a storyteller, I gotta share this with you, okay? But please do me a favor, don't laugh at me. There's no laughing at Alex, okay? Only laughing with Alex, okay? So I'm gonna share with you this story and what I learned from it. And before we get started, do me a favor, go on and click that like, click the subscribe, and you might as well preemptively click the share button, because you're gonna enjoy this and you're gonna want all your friends to laugh with me as well, okay? So let's go on and get started. It was early in my career. I was probably about 25 years old, and at that point in time, I was the program manager for executive leadership development for the U.S. Department of the Interior. In doing this job, I not only oversaw executive leadership development for that agency, but I also ran 3 different government-wide leadership development programs. And so I was very, very used to speaking to large groups of people. 500, 600, 700 people, executive leaders. It was my normal. So I was very, very comfortable in doing this, and I did it well. And because I did it well, I was asked to introduce a individual who's running for office at this big event. And I said, sure, not a problem. So I'm ready to present. The night before, I have my bullet points of what I'm going to say, and have a good old time. And the night before, I got a call. I got a call from the person who asked me to come and do this, and he said, Alex, are you ready? I'm like, yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to go. I'm gonna have a good time. We're gonna have a great time. And he says, okay, great. So you have your speech written. I said, speech? Yeah, you have a speech written, right? You have a speech written. I said, no, I don't have a speech written. Well, you should definitely have a speech written. I'm like, oh shoot, okay. Yeah. This is my first time doing this type of event, introducing a person running for office. I guess speech is what you gotta have. So that night I said, okay, work on a speech. So I wrote my speech, and look, I was not confident in that speech. I've never written a speech, never read from a speech ever in my life. Not very confident. So that next morning, as I got up to the stage and started to speak, I bombed. It was literally the most embarrassing moment of my professional career. I stuttered the entire way through. I got like every single word mixed up wrong. Like, I could look at the audience of these people. It was only about 100 so people in there, and everyone was really like, it was bad. It was so bad that at the end, the individual who I was introducing came up and he was like, hey, thank you, Alex, so much for the great introduction. You did wonderful. Thank you so much. And he walked on, and I walked off the stage. And what did I want to do? I wanted to put my head in the ground like an ostrich. But unfortunately, the only way to leave that room was to walk through the middle of the room. So everyone watched me as I walked through the middle to exit the room. I got out that room and sat down and was distraught. And this political leader then walked up to me and sat down next to me, and he said, hey, you doing okay? I said, I don't think I did too well. And he said, you're right, it was pretty bad. Now, that was not what I was expecting him to say. I thought he was gonna, pat me on my shoulder and say, oh, it's so right, you didn't do as bad as you think. Nah, he was real. He said I was pretty bad. Well, I asked him, I said, well, do you give speeches? You're a political leader. How do you go about doing it? He says, you know what? I don't give speeches. I do bullet points. And I was like, shoot. What did I learn from this moment? Don't do something one way just because someone says to do it that way. Do what works for you, right? That's the important thing. Everyone has their way of doing something, but if that way doesn't work for you and it's going to make you unsuccessful, then you should push back and try it your way. If I would have just gone off the bullet points that I had already drafted up, it would have been a hit. I would have had everybody laughing and stomping in their chairs. Alex is so awesome. But instead, I had a cringe-worthy moment where everyone felt bad for me. So this is what I like to talk about. This is what I talk about, especially in networking. Everyone thinks that there's only one way to network, and that's not real. That's in the movies. When we talk about networking, all we're talking about is building relationships. So how many different creative ways can you use to build relationships? You can go to networking parties, or you can join an intramural softball team, or you can join a book club. All it is about putting yourself in the position to meet the people you want to meet and develop relationships with. So again, this is why I talk about in my networking trainings and my speeches and workshops and so on and so forth. But I also learned one other thing, is that practice. I mean, that time wasn't great for me. I didn't have that much time to practice the speech, but it did reaffirm the importance of practicing for me. See, again, now that I'm a professional speaker, I go all across the country speaking. I'll tell you, my speeches generally, they're speeches. They're not bullet points. I spent a lot of time being very intentional in the words I use and how I use the words and the examples I use. It was very, very well thought out. The reason why no one knows that it's a speech is because I practice. I mean, I can give my speech right now as I'm walking down here without even having to look at any PowerPoint presentations or any notes. I have them up here now. It's because I practice. So anything you want to do and you want to do well, make sure you do two things. The first, know what works and what works for you. You have to be comfortable because you're the person doing it, right? Second is put in the time. If it's important to you, you will put in the time and effort to be better at it. So, hey, this is Alex Tremble. I ask you, I employ you, and I love to hear from you. So, go on and put some messages in the comment. What do you think about this? Is this right? Am I off target? Am I completely crazy? And how hard did you laugh when you found out that I almost cried on stage? So look, make sure you click that like, subscribe, make sure you click that share. As always, stay strong, stay positive, and definitely stay moving.